When you think of Canada, what do you actually think of? Do you think Canada is just the largest country in the world? Do you think Canada is just a country that's located in the northern part of North America? Do you think Canada is just a country with 10 provinces, a country with white winters, or a country with white people all around you? True, all these things about Canada is true, but all these things do not define all of Canada. Canada's identity can be identified in a much broader context. Canada is a country whose society is known to be shaped by the meeting of different cultures. Now, what does this mean? To understand this, you first need to know the difference between a society and a culture. A society is a group of people that live together and are associated with each other in a certain region, such as a village or a city. On the other hand, a culture is a set learned of behaviors and beliefs that characterize a society, and it is passed from one generation to another. Canada does not only have a single culture. Canada's society is known to be shaped by the meeting of several distinct cultures or ethnic groups. And the unity of these cultures and its influence on the Canadian society, today Canada is known to be a multicultural country. Moreover, Toronto is known to be the most ethnically diverse city in the entire world. Canada was the first country to adopt its Multiculturalism Act in 1970. You can see examples of multiculturalism all around Canada. You can see Chinese owning their own grocery stores. You can see Muslims performing their traditional prayers in Canada's large convention centers. You can see Italians working in a hospital. You can see Indian teachers. You can see Spanish having their own restaurants. Or you could see temples all around Canada. Multiculturalism is only one part of Canada's beauty. Now, you may think, why do people come to Canada? Well, the answer for this could be due to several reasons. First of all, because Canada was the first country to adapt its multiculturalism act, it made it easier for people to actually immigrate to Canada. Moreover, Canada has better facilities such as schooling or education. In 1994, Canada was ranked to have a life expectancy of 80.23%. This means that Canada has such great healthcare centers. Moreover, Canada has an unemployed rate of only 6.7%. This means that the Canadian government provides such great job opportunities for anyone who comes from anywhere all around the world. And lastly, due to Canada's immigrant policies, Multiculturalism Act promotes the full and equitable participants of individuals and communities of all origins in all aspects of the Canadian society. Canada has been accepting immigrants from all around the world. Just alone in 2015, more than 2 million immigrants landed in Canada. Out of these 2 million people, 50,000 were Philippines, 40,000 were Indian, 20,000 were Chinese, 11,000 were Pakistanis, 10,000 were Syrian, and many more from all around the world. My family was also part of the 250,000 immigrants that landed in Canada in 1995. My mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my 2 older siblings went through a tough and long process to settle life in Montreal, Quebec. My mother worked at an accounts office back in Pakistan. My dad and my grandfather did an attempt to work on their own business. Even though my family was living a happy life in Pakistan, my dad and grandfather realized they can have a better business and a life of higher quality and better facilities in Canada. Settling in Canada was not easy for my family. Living in Montreal, my parents had a difficult time communicating due to the language differences. While my dad and my grandfather worked at minimum wage, my mother took care of the house and my 2 older siblings. In 1998, when my sister was born, I was born in 1999, and finally, when my brother was born in 2000, my family decided to move to Toronto. This was the much better option. Because of Canada's ethnic diversity, my parents could settle in Toronto in a much better way. Today, my dad owns his own business. My mother is a happy housewife, and all my siblings have grown up to have a better education and better health care and much more that the Canadian government has given us. even though my parents went through, talking about growing up in Canada, even though my parents went through a long and a tough process and many difficulties, I, as a kid, didn't have to go through any of these struggles. When I was in elementary school, although I understood that everyone comes from somewhere, my mind, and even in a young age, my mind accepted being friends with different people. When I went to, growing up in this multicultural society, my mind has learned to accept people and treat them equally no matter where they come from. When I went for vacation in Pakistan, and I had people asking me, how does it feel to live in a country where with people that are not the same as you? How do you talk to them when you don't have anything in common? Listening to these questions, I realized how the mindset of people has been set of those that do not live in a multicultural society. When you start talking to different people and you become friends with them, you get to realize that you are actually not different at all. You get to realize having different origins makes everyone unique in a certain way. But at the end of the day, we all do come from somewhere, and we all are the same. As a Canadian, I have learned to increase Canada's attractiveness by meeting new people and forming diverse relations with them. Thank you.